Hello everyone. Today we have another Jadavpur University alumni with us. Uh, please say hi to everyone and please give a brief introduction about yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Anubhav. I finished my bachelor's in power engineering from the year 2023 and I studied here from 2019 onwards and I've been studying here in Stuttgart in my master's and I'm doing my master's in electrical engineering from 2023 onwards.
All right. So you have done Bachelor of Engineering in Power Engineering. After
Mm-hmm.
that, you went to Germany. And
Mm-hmm.
how did you came up with this idea to do masters abroad?
Uh, so I decided to study in Germany actually when I was in school. I was planning on doing my bachelor's as well here, but unfortunately, when I was in school, I did not know the language. And bachelor's in Germany is primarily still taught in German, which is one huge, I wouldn't say it's a problem, but I would say it's a challenge to many students.
All right.
And so the thing is, if you want to do bachelor's in Germany, once you're here in Germany, you have to attend something known as a Studienkolleg, where for 1 year they teach you only the language and it's not only just communication skills but communication skills as well as technical terms in German, because if people want to pursue a technical bachelor's they need to go through all the technical terms in German
Hmm.
itself. Once people do that after 1 year of completion, then it's a 3 years bachelor's here even for engineering. But the thing is, usually people tend to extend it, which is kind of not similar to what happens in India. So
Hmm.
in India, if it's a science bachelor's, people do it for 3 years, or any other sort of bachelor's, law bachelor's, or 5 years, engineering bachelor's are for 4 years. But in Germany, it's 3 years, bachelor's for engineering. But usually people have to extend it because they cannot complete the course within this given 3 years.
Okay.
Which and honestly, financially as well, like spending 1 year at student college followed by at least 3 years in my bachelor's would not have been financially possible for me to say.
So did you already plan that you will do masters in from the beginning of your bachelor's, or you?
Yes.
Yes. So you got admission in power engineering. You had a vision to pursue higher studies abroad. What kind of
Mhm.
student you were in your school life? Were you a very good student or average? What kind of student you were?
I mean, it's difficult to say. I mean, given the fact that I pursued science in school would put me amongst one of the above average students, because that is exactly how 11, 12 education functions in India, where people tend to pursue science if they're above average, if they're a bit average, and they do not pursue science, they tend to shift towards commerce. But yeah, I was fairly above average, and even during the competitive exams itself, my competitive exams went well.
Hmm.
I definitely did not have a very good rank that would get me into, let's say, streams like electronics or electrical engineering, which are those streams which are more in demand at most universities.
Hmm.
But I mean, my WBJE rank in the year 2019 was around 1500.
Okay. All right. So let's come to now the main topic of this video.
Mhm.
Uh, what is power engineering according to you as a power senior?
Oh, that's a pretty tough question to be fair,
Okay, what is power
because
engineering? Means many people have many misconceptions about this department. So please.
I think the biggest misconception is, I think, the way most I've heard professors put it this way, as well as certain seniors, juniors, students in general, which is they use the word it is a mixture of electrical and mechanical engineering,
Hmm.
which I definitely feel it is not, because from the year 2018 we have had a new syllabus which is catered in such a way that you have the option of going completely towards the electrical field if you want,
Hmm.
And if not, people can also choose like a separate elective and go towards the more mechanical side of the degree. um, Originally the degree was not just power engineering but power plant engineering.
Yes.
And the main objective of this engineering is to like get you into the subjects of energy, how exactly grids work, how exactly power is transmitted from power plants to substations, etc. That is the more vast outlook of it. But
Mm,
because it's an, of course, it's an engineering course at one of the top universities in the country. uh, I mean, you go through a lot of the basics which are required. So it's just basic electrical engineering, like you go through advanced mathematics, which you need. And overall, I personally find it to be a very, very nice degree, especially with the option of doing honors. Because
yes.
the topic of honors in the degree, it's like an elective which allows you to take up additional subjects or additional credits in the course. And the honor subjects allow you to choose for, like, they particularly choose modules
Mm,
from more advanced topics in the electrical domain or the mechanical domain, and you can add an honors to your degree as well, which is very nice.
yes. So, power engineering, after someone graduates from this department, what are the
Mhm.
scopes he or she has in abroad or any research online? What kind of fields people can go after studying power engineering?
I mean, given the placement scenario in India right now,
No, no,
I
not
think
not the placement senior. Say
okay,
something about the higher studies and research
research
perspectives.
related or higher, I
Yes.
mean, okay, higher studies, to be very fair, it is very likely that you can get into higher study programs in both mechanical or electrical based programs abroad. I think in certain respects, you can also get into energy related courses or even power engineering masters in general, which
Hmm,
is very common abroad, where power engineering is treated as a specialization in the electrical engineering domain.
hmm,
So, yeah, I think if people want to pursue higher studies, it is very common, or I would say rather simple, to get into electrical engineering masters, mechanical masters, etc.
yes. So, if anyone wants, can he do a masters in computer science or electronics after studying power engineering? Will it be a bit difficult for he or she to pursue that?
Um, I'm not sure about USA or Canadian universities, or particularly those universities, because I have not, like, at least when I was applying for masters, I was more sure about the German universities,
Hmm,
not these universities. But at least in Germany, electrical engineering and computer science departments are always together.
okay. Hmm,
So, which is why, in case you get a master's in electrical engineering, your electronics is either a specialization or your computer science can be treated as a specialization. So,
hmm.
it is very common for you to come in an electrical engineering master's course and take those subjects up as a specialization. And you can very well do that.
All right. So, you are currently doing a job right now, and can you disclose it? Means what kind of job you are doing? Means
To be
in which?
fair, I was doing a job
Okay,
because it's a new semester.
okay,
Um, I started my job during the beginning of the summer semester last year. So it was
okay,
exactly March 2024 when I began my job. I began working here as a working student. So that's part time
mm,
at Sony, and I was working for in their research lab. So the first 6 months when I was working, I was working on the optimization of a camera sensor there,
okay,
and it was optimization for a camera sensor which is mostly used for automotive driving.
okay, okay. That's a very amazing thing. And
Yes.
okay, so since you are from power engineering background, in the complete process in your master degree course as well as in job, did you face
Mhm.
any kind of problems since your background is power?
Right. So for getting the job, I got the job through one of my professors here. So I was taking up a particular module in my first semester, which was called Matrix Computations in Signal Processing and Machine Learning, which was taught by. rather not was it is taught because it is still a available course in my degree. It is a course which was taught by a person from Sony,
Uh-huh.
and when I was taking up that module, he mailed all the students in the course regarding an internship opening which was possible in that particular in his company. Now there is a certain difference, which is internships are full time. So if I do an internship, I have to take my entire semester off and work full time for 6 months, whereas working student is part time, so I can continue my studies and keep working. So I contacted the company. They asked me for my CV. Then after that, they went completely silent. So I thought I did. Of course, so I of course thought that they would not contact me back. I think this happened around October 2023, end of October 2023. Around January of 2024, they replied back and said that we would want to do an interview for the post. And I said, fine. I mean, why not take up the opportunity? But it wasn't a much of a problem to get the job because, to be honest, it depends on the company and the interviewer as well.
Okay.
Because the first time when I got into the position as a working student, there were no technical questions asked.
Okay.
They
So,
just wanted.
so you haven't had any problem since you are from power engineering. We can conclude that.
No,
Okay.
no, not really. I mean, they went through my background. They said that okay, you're studying masters here. It's fine for us. They had
All
no
right.
issues whatsoever.
Okay. So let's coming to your bachelor program. You
Mhm,
had a vision to pursue higher studies. So
mhm.
only for backup, did you prepare for any kind of placements in JU, and did you sit for any companies in JU?
For placements, I tried sitting for a couple of companies, not a lot. Um, like I sat for Airbus and Texas Instruments. These are the two I remember. I don't think I applied or sat. I did not. I don't think I sat for any other company. To be fair,
Okay.
I
Okay.
and
So
Texas Instruments.
as far
I
as
think
you
Texas Instruments.
as far as you remember, can you share a very brief experience on how your Texas Instrument process went?
I think it's an interesting story because Texas Instruments, the year when they allowed power engineering students to sit for placements, it was during our batch,
Okay.
and no one was aware that Texas Instruments would allow us to sit for their exam. So no one had prepared anything for it. Um, and I was outside. I was in the middle of a friend group gathering, you could say. I was outside, and in the middle of that, I had to take up the Texas Instruments placement test.
Okay.
And I remember I had not prepared anything extra, to be honest. But then I was kind of confident on my basics.
Okay.
Uh, and but what was funny is that I happened to be the only person who cracked the interview round from power engineering.
Okay. So how was your interview experience as far as you remember? Can you share it?
Interview experience, to be honest, in Texas Instruments, it was nice. I mean, the interviewers help us a lot. uh, they ask you very basic questions from analog circuits, depending on which one you qualify for.
Okay.
um, and yeah, I mean, if your basics are okay, if you're confident with it, I don't think people should have a problem cracking the interview.
All right. So we can say that you only sat for a very few companies since you are
Mhm.
already planning to do masters abroad
Correct.
in electrical field, obviously.
Mhm.
And so now a very general and genuine question. Many
Mhm.
people in power engineering want to pursue higher studies abroad. They do not have a proper roadmap. Means they
Right.
say that some of the higher studies are obtained by professor referrals, some say by GRE. Can you give a very brief roadmap in how someone from power engineering can pursue higher studies in any of the top universities abroad in both electrical or as well as in power or renewable energy field?
Right. So the first thing is there is a huge difference in universities abroad, especially in between universities in the US or Canada and then universities in Europe. For example, European universities are heavily relying on your bachelor's marks
Okay.
as as well as what modules have you completed if those modules match with their counterpart bachelor's course given in their university. So when you're applying, they ask you for a module catalog, which is like a book of all the modules which you have completed in your bachelor's. And once they go through it, they kind of cross check if it matches the degree of the ones of the degree programs in their own university. And if it's fine, then you are eligible to get an admission. US universities and Canadian universities, on the other hand, are very, very dependent on your statement of purpose, your LORs from your professors, maybe certain publications which you have done, because obviously the competition for US universities is much higher.
Hmm. Obviously.
And as far as a roadmap goes, at least for European universities or even the American ones or the Canadian ones, I think one of the mandatory exams which students should prepare for is the IELTS. Um, the GR, I mean the GRE is pretty expensive, but on the same, I mean there are many universities which are actually not asking for your GRE scores. I mean, it's definitely a booster to your application, but if you're not willing to do it, it's not like you won't get a university if you don't have it. But it
Okay.
is highly suggested to take the GRE.
Okay, apart from those two exam preparation, what else should
Mm.
someone keep in mind during his bachelor program? Should he keep a very, he or she keep a very high CGPA, or he should do some good internships or some good projects? What kind of student he or she should be in his curriculum to pursue higher studies abroad?
I mean, your marks should be, of course, it should be high. It is not a necessary that it is not a necessity that it has to be very high. Otherwise, you will not get admission. Because in case your application, I mean your bachelor's marks aren't great, you can obviously counter that with a good SOP or like a good LOR from a professor. In terms of internships, they are definitely good, but also depends on what kind of internship you're doing, because there are a lot of cases where people do a 1 day internship, for example, or maybe someone is doing an internship for a week. I mean, these internships, I mean, they are fine. They will add to your CV as an internship. But again, if it's just a 1 week internship, people know that you have only gained experience for a week, which is close to nothing.
Okay.
So an internship which is at least for about a month or maybe 2 months in a proper university or a company is nice. But again, these are very difficult things to get, to be honest. And apart from that, preferably any sort of research work during the bachelor's is also recommended, I would say.
All right, all right. Thanks for joining with us. It was an amazing podcast with you. And I will share the LinkedIn ID in the description. If you have any genuine queries, you can feel free to ask him. He will obviously try to reply. And thanks, everyone.